What links method acting, a rock band, and the Empire State Building climb? Jared Leto. Hi, I'm Leah, feeling curious today and ready to explore Jared Leto's multifaceted career. Let's set the scene and keep it real.
I'm Garrett, excited to dive into the wild world of Jared Leto. Let's dig into this and keep it chill.
Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett.
Today's topic, Jared Leto, acting, music, and multimedia career. Personal memory time. The first time I heard 30 Seconds to Mars, it was The Kill. I remember thinking this is a rock song, but it feels like a mini movie. Then I learned Jared directed the video under the name Bartholomew Cubbins, which is a Dr. Seuss reference. And the whole thing was an homage to The Shining by Stanley Kubrick, the filmmaker known for meticulous, eerie storytelling. It made me realize the band wasn't just playing songs, they were building a world on screen too.
Let's unpack the basics. Jared Leto is an American actor and musician whose career spans 3 decades. He's the lead vocalist and main songwriter for 30 Seconds to Mars, the band he co-founded with his brother Shannon Leto in 1998. They've sold over 15 million albums and toured the world. On the acting side, he won the Academy Award, the Oscar, plus the Golden Globe and the SAG Award for Dallas Buyers Club.
And his approach is often described as method acting. That means he tries to live inside the character's psychology and body, sometimes even off camera. It can include things like changing weight, altering habits, or staying in character between takes. Love it or not, it's part of why his performances in films like Requiem for a Dream and Chapter 27 stood out.
He doesn't just act and sing, he also directs music videos and documentaries. Artifact, for example, is his feature documentary about the band's legal fight with their label and the modern music industry. It won the People's Choice Award for Best Documentary at the Toronto International Film Festival, which is a major festival for global cinema.
And the band's visuals are its own ecosystem. From filming in the Forbidden City in China for From Yesterday, to shooting near the Arctic Circle for A Beautiful Lie with environmental partners, the videos are like short films. It's very much a multimedia project, not just an audio thing.
Okay, let's step back to the early days. Picture this. Jared Joseph Leto is born in Bossier City, Louisiana in 1971. He grows up with his mother Constance and his maternal grandparents, moving often because of his grandfather's Air Force service. The home is filled with artists and musicians, and that creative openness sticks with him.
He and his brother Shannon start making music young. His first instrument was a broken-down piano, which is such a DIY origin story. That kind of sets the tone for later, where he ends up directing and producing on a shoestring when needed.
In school, he dabbles in visual arts in Philadelphia, then New York City at the School of Visual Arts. He writes and stars in a short film called Crying Joy. That's where the directing bug really bites, even though acting starts to pick up soon after.
He heads to Los Angeles in 1992, planning to direct, and acting is the side quest. Then in 1994, My So-Called Life on ABC with Claire Danes puts him on the map. His character Jordan Catalano becomes this 1990s teen icon, moody, captivating. It gave him instant pop culture gravity.
From there he stacks film credits. How to Make an American Quilt, The Last of the High Kings, and then Prefontaine, where he plays the Olympic runner Steve Prefontaine. He trained hard and nailed the voice and form, earning praise for the realism and intensity.
He also lands with major auteurs. David Fincher casts him in Fight Club, then later Panic Room, and Terrence Malick brings him into The Thin Red Line, that poetic war film. Getting into those ensembles put him on the map with serious directors early on.
And even in ensemble roles, you can see the seeds of the immersive style. Nuanced, slightly haunted, always specific. It feels like he's testing how far he can push character work, even before the big transformations kick in.
So by the late 1990s, he's balancing rising film heat with that original directing itch, and the music path is about to bloom in parallel. That brings us to the rise and the struggle phase.
Rise and struggle. Let's get to the heart of it. In 1998, Jared and Shannon formed 30 Seconds to Mars. He chooses not to leverage his acting celebrity to promote the band early, a strategic move to earn credibility on the merits. Touring, building a fan base the slow way.
At the same time, the method side accelerates. Requiem for a Dream in 2000 with director Darren Aronofsky, who's known for intense psychological dramas. Jared loses about 28 pounds and lived on New York streets to get the feel. Critics called it raw and devastating.
The debut album, 30 Seconds to Mars, arrives in 2002. It doesn't dominate the charts, but it finds its crowd, especially with heavy touring. Then A Beautiful Lie in 2005 breaks through, eventually going platinum in the US with festival runs across Europe and serious momentum.
On camera, he keeps pushing transformation. Chapter 27 in 2007, playing Mark David Chapman, he gains roughly 67 pounds so fast he develops gout. You can debate the risks, but the commitment is obvious and a little intense. Not gonna lie.
Visually, the band levels up. The Kill pays tribute to Kubrick, and From Yesterday films in the Forbidden City in China with hundreds of extras. That's not a normal music video scale. That's cinematic ambition wired into a rock single.
Then, the legal storm. In 2008, the band faces a $30 million breach of contract suit from EMI. They mount a defense using California's de Havilland law, which basically limits how long a personal service contract can bind you. It's named after actor Olivia de Havilland's case from the 1940s.
They settle in 2009 and re-sign. Out of that period comes This Is War, a critically praised album. The tour is massive and relentless, eventually logging 300 shows in a single album cycle for a Guinness World Record. That's stamina.
Why go that hard on touring, you think?
Because live shows can build community faster than any ad campaign. Also, touring turns curiosity into loyalty. It's a smart business model when your identity is global and cinematic. Fans want to feel part of the film, so to speak.
Resolution and expansion. In 2013, he returns to acting after a break with Dallas Buyers Club, directed by Jean-Marc Vallée, known for intimate, character-driven films. Jared plays Rayon, a transgender woman. He loses around 30 pounds and stays in character on set, and the performance wins the Oscar, the Globe, and the SAG Award.
In music, he leans into short films. Up in the Air is a surrealist piece with athletes and performance art, and City of Angels is a documentary portrait of Los Angeles with voices of celebrities and unhoused participants. It shows his drive to blend art and social commentary in the same frame.
Then the franchise era heats up. Suicide Squad in 2016 as the Joker, and Blade Runner 2049 as Neander Wallace, working in the legacy of Ridley Scott's world with Denis Villeneuve directing the sequel. The Joker performance got complicated press, we'll get to that, but it kept him front and center in pop culture conversation.
30 Seconds to Mars releases America in 2018. It divides critics but debuts at number 2 in the US. Later, It's the End of the World, but It's a Beautiful Day in 2023 also drew mixed reviews. Even with polarization, the fan base stays loyal, which says a lot about the live legacy they built.
On screen, he racks up varied roles. The Little Things gets him awards nominations. House of Gucci with Ridley Scott draws attention for another big transformation. Morbius lands in the superhero sphere. We Crashed on Apple TV Plus has him as Adam Newman, the WeWork co-founder. Then Tron Ares lines up to bring him into that neon sci-fi sandbox.
And the spectacle moment. In November 2023, he legally climbed the Empire State Building to promote the Seasons Tour. It's a marketing move and an image burned into people's minds, kind of the perfect symbol of how he merges art with attention-grabbing stunts.
That publicity model pairs well with their transmedia approach. Albums linked to films like A Day in the Life of America, which stitch together snapshots from around the country. Music becomes the soundtrack to a wider story.
All right, controversial corner, let's talk about the on-set Joker-era stories during Suicide Squad. In 2016, there were sensational accounts about unusual gifts to castmates, like the live rat story and other shocking items. In 2021, Jared said some of those comments were made in jest and denied sending certain items, so the record is disputed, and not every claim has independent verification.
Here's where I land. Even if some tales were exaggerated, the vibe on set matters. Method choices that bleed into colleagues' workdays can create stress. Film sets rely on trust and safety, and if the line blurs, it affects crew and co-stars who didn't sign up for immersive pranks.
Totally get that. My instinct, though, is that tabloids amplify extremes. Premiere night quotes can become legend. If in 2021 he says the wildest bits were jokes, I think we hold space for that correction while acknowledging co-star anecdotes exist. Both can be true in the sense that stories grew and feelings on set were impacted.
Why do you think the narrative stuck so hard?
Because it fits the cultural myth of the Joker as chaos. Also simplified for headlines, method acting sounds like boundary-pushing antics. It's a neat story shape even when reality is muddier, and marketing thrives on memorable images, right?
Fair. My take is, method should be like a stunt. You need consent and guardrails. If a choice risks someone else's comfort or safety, it needs a check. Great performances don't require surprising your coworkers with shock props. You can keep it in character without crossing lines.
And the alternative view is some actors use method as a private toolkit. The best sets make room for different processes while keeping the workplace respectful. The dispute reminds everyone to communicate early and often, so set culture is clear and supportive.
We agree on the destination then. Respect first. Art thrives when the room feels safe, and the controversy becomes a case study in boundaries more than a referendum on all method acting.
Pop culture impact. He's been part of multiple eras. Jordan Catalano as a 1990s archetype, the Joker discourse dominating 2016 comic book chatter, and those massive cinema-style videos serving as touchstones for 2000s and 2010s rock fans. Even the Empire State Building climb turned into a global image you can't unsee.
What if, for a moment, here's a thought I've been turning over. What if the EMI lawsuit hadn't settled in 2009 and 30 Seconds to Mars went fully independent?
I imagine the music getting even more experimental. Without a major label's release cadence, they might have leaned into long-form visual pieces as the main event and albums as soundtracks to films. Think fewer radio formulas, more art house arcs.
Touring-wise, I could see a pivot to fan-funded bursts, smaller, curated residencies with immersive visuals. They already built VivaRT later as a livestream platform, so maybe that kind of direct-to-fan play arrives earlier and becomes the backbone. Fewer dates, more bespoke experiences.
And Artifact, the documentary, might have doubled as a manifesto for an indie path. Imagine pairing every release with a civic or environmental partner. The Greenland shoot for A Beautiful Lie showed the template. Independence could have made that the rule, not the exception.
The trade-off, though, is maybe less radio lift in some regions, but in exchange, a cult following willing to travel and crowdfund ambitious shoots. That's a model where community is the label. I'm down for that idea.
Either way, the through line remains. Big concepts, global scale visuals, and a blend of music and film. That's pretty much their DNA. Thanks for hanging with us today. Stay curious, and we'll see you next time.
Appreciate you. That ties it up nicely. Catch you on the next deep dive.